This is public meeting dealing with some planning matters today. I'm going to ask, there he is, Mr. Hutchison. You have joined us virtually. Welcome, Tom. I will say the two members will not be in today. Councillor Shea is dealing with some personal matters, and Councillor Hutchison is dealing with some health issues. I wish them both good luck on dealing with those. Ask any of the members, is there a declaration, excuse me, a declaration of pecuniary interest, general nature thereof, from anybody? Seeing none, thank you. So public meeting for zoning amendment ZA 07-2024, 725 Queen Street, Grey Road 9 in Newstead. This meeting is open, and I'm going to ask Ashley, anybody that is on virtually, can you give them the information that they may be required if something happens with our connectivity?
Thank you. And through you, Mayor Eccles, before I begin, at any point, if you get disconnected, you can dial 1-647-558-0588 and enter the ID for this meeting, which is 891-5626-2480. Both members of council and staff have been briefed on the various features of the Zoom meeting software and will be raising their hands physically to speak. For members of the public, if you require any technical assistance, please send a chat message to myself, Ashley Noble, Communications Coordinator, and I will attempt to assist you. It should be noted for members of the public that this meeting is taking place across two meeting platforms, both on Zoom as well as being live streamed on YouTube. Public participation, if any, must be done through Zoom and cannot be done through YouTube at this time.
Thank you, Ashley. I have some formal announcements that I've got to make. In this process, I would like to remind everyone that the purpose of this public meeting is to receive input from the public. Every person who attends a statutory public meeting required under the Planning Act shall be given an opportunity to make representations in respect to the proposed bylaw. All submission materials for this application are available at the West Grey Municipal Office during regular business hours. If a person or public body would otherwise have an ability to appeal the decision of the municipality of West Grey to the Ontario Land Tribunal, but the person or public body does not make oral submissions at the public meeting or make written submissions to the municipality of West Grey before the zoning bylaw amendment is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the municipality of West Grey before the zoning bylaw amendment is passed, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal, unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to do so. And that's my formal part. Jamie. Mr. Clerk, you have some comments.
Thank you, Mayor Eccles. Notice of this public meeting was circulated to the prescribed bodies, posted on the subject property, and mailed to all property owners within 120 meters of the subject property on April 30th, 2024. Anyone wishing to provide verbal comments at this public meeting is asked to sign the sign-in sheet located on the speaker's table. The personal information collected at this public meeting is collected under the authority of the Planning Act and the Municipal Act. The information collected will be used to complete the zoning bylaw amendment process and will form part of the public record. Questions about this collection should be addressed to me, the Director of Legislative Services / Clerk. If you wish to be notified of the decision of the Corporation of the Municipality of West Grey and the proposed zoning bylaw amendment, you must make a written request to the Municipality of West Grey, care of the Director of Legislative Services / Clerk.
Thank you, Jamie. I'll ask now for an overview of the planning. Planner Smith, David.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you mentioned, the first file is ZA 07-2024 Walsh with our agent Triton Engineering for 725 Queen Street, also on Grey Road 9 in Newstead. The purpose of the application is to change the zoning on the lands from R1B with low density residential to R2502 medium density residential exception, R2503 medium density residential exception, and R2504 medium density residential exception. The effect of the application is to permit a new semi-detached dwelling on the R2502 zone. a new 3-unit townhouse on the R2503 zone and to retain the existing single detached dwelling on the R2504 zone. And it may be worthwhile we bring up on the screen the various documents or pages that we're referencing at this time. So next page, please. All right, one more page. Location of the subject property at the corner of Enoch Street and Queen Street in Newstead. It's a corner lot, and you can see from the blue outline is the outline of the property boundaries itself and the existing single detached dwelling, which sits kind of a little bit over the property line at the corner of Enoch Street itself. Next page, please. The current zoning of the property and surrounding properties is R1B in the yellow. We have a small apartment building to the rear of this in the red zone, and then off to the northeast is a small piece of that green particular zone. But in general, the property is surrounded by residential units, residential unit uses. Primarily, the R1B zone is single detached, but again, this small apartment building to the rear in this particular case. Next page, please. This is a diagram of the proposed layout of the property. The 3-unit townhouse would be fronting onto Queen Street. The single detached unit in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see that, the corner of Enoch and Queen, and then the semi-detached with access off of Enoch Street only. The property, the site plan shows various setbacks as proposed in the zoning bylaw amendment application. Next, please. This is the draft of the proposed zoning amendment. As I mentioned, the 3 particular zones, the semi-detached is the bottom left-hand corner. Sorry, 1 minute, please. The bottom left corner, the R2503 is the 3-unit townhouse. The R2504 next to it would be the existing single detached. And then the R2502 zone to the rear, it would be this semi-detached units. It should be noted that it is the intent of the applicants to eventually sever all of the units into freehold units. So we have 6 units on the lot, of which the semi-detached is 1 and 2, the existing house, lot 3, and then the 3-unit townhouse, lots 4 through 6. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And does the applicant or Triton Engineering have any comments at this point in time? Looking, yeah, I didn't.
There may
think it
be,
was- there we are. It's on the screen.
I just wondered if anyone had questions for me at this point, but I think everything's good. If you guys have any questions for me, I think the main appeal that I read was about the garage space for garbage, which each unit will have a attached garage, obviously, on the unit.
Sir, just for the record, can we have
Yep.
your name?
Yes,
the
my name is Jesse Walsh. I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Then I'm going to open it up to the public, and part of the public process, because we're using microphones and we have individuals on the screen as well. If you could take the podium, press the gray button there, and that will make you live. And just for the public document, say your name. And if there is anybody, now's your chance. Peter, did you hear what I said? Go to the table. Go to the table. Thank you. Well, this is just something personal. There you go.
My first,
Your
just a
first name and
comment.
last name is?
My first name is Peter Stephen Watcham,
Thank you. Go ahead.
full name. My first concern is this. there's too many homes being put on such a small lot. That's my first concern. The idea being that, I know you're not gonna like this, but I come from Brampton. And we saw perfectly good lots like this instead of building homes, which homes were already around. A lot of people lost what their home was worth, what their property was worth, when all of a sudden, large lots like this were all doubled up into all kinds of homes. And they became cheaper and cheaper. That's the first thing I'd like to bring out. Secondly, I'd like to bring out, if they put these 3 units in along Queen, are they gonna put like sidewalks along that as well as, and curbs for people that would have visitors come and leave their car there overnight and stuff like that? I just don't feel that this type of housing is what most of the village is built like. It isn't. There are a lot larger outfits, but if this did go through and all that zoning could be changed, does that mean that I'd be able to have a contractor come up with me and have them tear down my house and my barn and that? God, we could put about 8 to 9 homes there. So if I want to have the money so that I can live like a king somewhere else, that would be great. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't feel that all these houses in one little spot like that is going to work. And I noticed, that's why I asked earlier about the blue lines. The house that's already there and has all that property, it was beyond those blue lines. Does that mean that house is going to stay, or once you've got the 3 in, you'll have the next zoning for that house to be ripped away and the garage behind it, and you put in another 3? How do we know that that's not going to happen? I mean, if you do it once, you let one person do it, that'll let them all do it. Those are my main concerns. I don't think that the lots are large enough that if it was a family where we'll say there were 2 children, they wouldn't have much of a backyard to play in. And it's a heavy traffic zone. And I don't know about, they may have garages attached, but how many cars could actually park on the driveway and be one put in the garage and maybe one put outside? And what happens if a person that, these are going to be sold, right, as homes eventually, or rented?
That's what I assume.
Yep, that is correct.
Yeah, Mr. Walsh.
So they're going to be sold, not rented?
Yep, sold. That's right.
Okay. So a lot of people, I can't see the pricing that's been going on in Newstead. I can't see a person buying a house for that type of money. But those are my comments. I know I probably had a million others, Kevin, but that's just pleading a case. I'd like to thank you very much for listening. If you could chop that to, instead of 3, 2, I think that would be a much better look at what the village looks like now for housing and that. And the 2 that are on the same, that are where the old, where the apartment buildings of the old school are, I could see from the chart that they went all the way back across, which means there's lots of space there for them to have cars and places for their children and that. But the 3, I think, should be chopped into 2. instead of three, then I would concede that would be a place to build. Thank you very, very much.
Okay, I think there was a few questions there. Did you get a couple of those questions to answer, David, or as far as density? I got it. Go ahead, Dave.
We will, be reviewing, as you know, Mr. Mayor, Council, various issues have been raised by members of the public, including this gentleman here and others, in our formal planning report to council and our recommendation at that time in regards to density, driveways, things like that, stormwater.
Well, there was a petition that came out, signed by
If you're gonna speak, Peter, I'd love you to use that microphone.
Absolutely, wouldn't have to. There was a petition that came around. I don't know how many letters Deborah got for it, and I don't know if it was given to council here, but there was a petition that went around. And it was mostly the people that lived closest to this corner that,
I'll say I wasn't aware of any.
Procedurally, I guess,
Okay. I just got informed that, yes, we did get it about less than an hour ago.
we, as you mentioned, and the clerk has mentioned, yes, we received letters and continue to receive letters right up to this date and past. Those letters, support, concerns, otherwise are taken into consideration when we write a report to council at the end. The opportunity here is for you to hear directly from individuals, their concerns here in this venue or online in that regard, and to give the chance to the developers or proponents to explain their project to council's questions at that time. Because the process isn't set up during the next meeting in order to do so. But yes, whatever letters come in are taken into consideration, and we summarize those for your planning report when we get to that process later on.
Thank you, David. Anyone else? If there are no other questions, we have confirmation just on that, that yes, we did receive some letters and petition has come in. I will say I haven't opened that email just as of yet, but it will be taken into consideration because it just come in an hour ago, give or take, Jamie. Okay. Any other comments from the public? Take those points into consideration. I'll declare the public meeting on this one. Zoning amendment number 7-2024 to be complete. Thank you. All right. We'll move on. We do have a couple of more public meetings today. And I'll say that the public meeting for ZA 08-2024, 456 Jacob Street, Newstead, is open. And Ashley, can we get you on the updates on joining us virtually?
As noted, at the opening of the meeting, public participation must be done through Zoom. Members of the public joining virtually wishing to participate in this portion of the meeting may do so in one of two ways. One, if you have joined via phone, press *9 to raise your hand. This will let us know that you would like to speak. Alternatively, *9 can also be used to lower your hand. If you have joined virtually, you can either raise your hand by clicking either the blue or yellow hand icon located in the bottom corner of your screen under the More Reaction option, or by sending a chat message to myself, Ashley Noble, Communications Coordinator, either stating that you would like to speak or what you would like read into the record on your behalf.
Thank you, Ashley. I have a couple of announcements. They may sound familiar. I would like to remind everyone that the purpose of this public meeting is to receive input from the public. Every person who attends a statutory public meeting required under the Planning Act shall be given an opportunity to make representation in respect of the proposed bylaw. All submission materials of this application are available at the West Grey Municipal Office during regular business hours. If a person or public body would otherwise have an ability to appeal the decision of the municipality of West Grey to the Ontario Land Tribunal, but the person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the municipality of West Grey before the zoning bylaw amendment is passed or the official plan amendment is adopted, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at the public meeting or make written submissions to the municipality of West Grey before zoning bylaw amendment is passed or the official plan amendment is adopted, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal, unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to do so. Thank you. And Jamie, you have some comments.
Thank you, Mayor Eccles, and through you, notice of this public meeting was circulated to the prescribed bodies, posted on the subject property, and mailed to all properties within 120 meters of the subject property on April 30th, 2024. Anyone wishing to provide verbal comments at this public meeting is asked to sign the sign-in sheet located on the speaker's table. The personal information collected at this public meeting is collected under the authority of the Planning Act and the Municipal Act. The information collected will be used to complete the zoning bylaw amendment process and will form part of the public record. Questions about this collection should be addressed to me, the Director of Legislative Services / Clerk. If you wish to be notified of the decision of the Corporation of the Municipality of West Grey and the proposed zoning bylaw amendment, you must make a written request to the Municipality of West Grey, care of the Director of Legislative Services / Clerk.
Thank you, Jamie. And Manager Mr. Smith. David?
Mr. Mayor, Council, as mentioned, files at A08-2024, Weaver with the agent SVB Holdings for 456 Jacob Street, Grey Road to 10 Newstead. Property is commonly referred to and known as the Newstead Brewery. Purpose of the application is to change the zoning on the lands from M1 industrial and R1B low density residential to a C1 505 general commercial exception and an NE 506 natural environment exception. The effect of the application is to permit a commercial operation consisting of a brewery, small distillery and contract bottling, private space for events up to 180 persons, some outdoor storage, and various accessory uses. The property will be subject to site plan control. Next page, please. The aerial view of the properties, we know it as Newstead Brewery in Newstead. Thank you. Next. The current zoning on the property is, as I mentioned, a mixture of R1B, which is the yellowish goldish section of the property, and the M1, which is the blue area on the property. There's also some Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority regulated area and part of a two-zone flood on abutting the property also. Next. This is a schematic of the property of itself and the part of the proposal. There is a proposal to add a addition onto the back end of the property through building permit. But in general, the zoning itself is taking a look at the new permitted uses, or sorry, a list of permitted uses I mentioned before, which is of course the continuation of the brewery, some event space, taking a look at this possibility long term of a small distillery in that regard. And so the site plan here is showing proposed parking for the event space off of Jacob Street, the setbacks to the regulated area and to the edge of the property itself in that regard, and the loading spaces on the far northern end of the property itself. The building itself sits almost right on the property line for Grey Road 10, not totally unusual in that regard, but all the development is around the sides, around to the back. The building front facade is, at the moment, it's not looking to be changed. And again, the addition that we're going to be seeing onto the building would be at the back, and of course, internal renovations for event space and the possibility of an accessory apartment within the building too would also be looked at. The zoning on the property for the C1 would be matches that plus a few extra uses of the uses in the downtown part of Newstead. It's a continuation on of the commercial designation that flows up along that part of Queen Street, which is why we're going from a industrial to a commercial zoning in this particular case. The zoning on the property is shown here would be all, I said, C1, the C1 zone, and the white with the overlay being the continuation on of the floodplain issues for the two-zone floodplain and the regulated area. A small, very small section of natural environment along the back, along New Creek, and a special NE zone at the far north end, NE 505, which is an existing cottage that is used as a storage building at this particular time, but will still be used as a storage building. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And I'll ask, is there any presentation from the applicants? Comments? No? No? Okay. Any comments from the public? Mr. Deemert. Pete showed you how to do that, so. That gray button. There you go, Ken.
Is that it? Can you hear me? My name is Ken Deemert, and I live at 451 Jacob Street, which is directly across from this brewery building. We support the zoning amendment. Mike and Anita Weaver purchased this property some 3 years ago, and they have made numerous improvements to this fine stone building. They have actually brought it back to life again. Now, if this zoning amendment is passed, this building would be a major asset to the village of Newstead and the municipality of West Gray. Now, as I said, we support this amendment, and I urge council to pass this amendment. And as we await your decision, I wish to thank you for giving me the time to speak to you today.
Thank you, good sir. Okay.
Yes, there's no questions.
Anyone else? If it pertains to this, let's go ahead.
My question is about how things are done. Like, as you know, as a personal friend, that I know nothing about politics. I mean, I think Jamie, you're a wonderful person, Jamie, but you talk like 1,000 miles an hour, and I'm having a hard time. What you say? But I don't say that to my wife because I'll get hit. When you mentioned the second time, you said, so if I were to say to you that I'm against the first one, the first
Yes.
zoning event, is that what I have to do in case somebody goes up to the higher ups that doesn't like the decision that you made? Like if I didn't
Wanna answer
state,
that?
if
Yeah.
I didn't state within my questions, because I didn't know that I would have to say something like, I think that council should not allow this zoning to go through.
So they have the right to appeal. I think that's what you're getting
Yeah.
onto. Jamie, that's a procedural thing, and that's where he comes into play.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor Eccles, and I do apologize for speaking so quickly during that. So basically, the appeal rights for zoning amendments are, provided the zoning bylaw passes, individuals would have 20 days to appeal the decision of the municipality. So in order to appeal, you would have to be here or submit comments in writing. You're here obviously today. So I would recommend if you want to be notified of the decision, just write your name and contact information on one of those sheets over there for that specific file. And then should the zoning bylaw pass, we would send you a notification. And then should you wish to appeal, you could do so.
Okay, got it now. And Jamie talked a lot slower that time. That's good. So that was all, that was my only question. I just wondered about, I don't have the procedures, like, I thought the person who, when they brought around the document for signing
Petition.
and the petition against this going through, I thought to myself, I don't mind it going through, but it's just too many places, like especially on the main street. I'm worried about that because that's a busy place.
Okay,
Okay,
but, yep,
so if I want to put my name on there,
please. And if you've got a pen, that's good. And if not, there's one supplied for you there. You will be searched before you leave the building. Okay, thank you. Anybody else on, getting back to Weber 456 Jacob Street on procedure? Seeing no one? Okay, I'll declare that this public meeting is closed for 456 Jacob Street, Gray Road 10. Okay. That moves us down then to zoning amendment number 9, 2024, 357 David Winkler Parkway. I'm going to say that the public meeting is open and ask Ashley to give us the statement of how anybody outside can join. Ashley?
If you've joined via phone, press *9 to raise your hand. This will let us know that you would like to speak. Alternatively, *9 can also be used to lower your hand. If you've joined virtually, you can either raise your hand by clicking the blue or yellow hand icon located in the bottom corner of your screen, or by sending a chat message to myself, Ashley Noble, Communications Coordinator, either stating what you would like to speak or what you would like read into the record on your behalf.
Thank you, Ashley. My formal pieces, I would like to remind everyone that the purpose of this public meeting is to receive input from the public. Every person who attends a statutory public meeting required under the Planning Act shall be given an opportunity to make representations in respect to the proposed bylaw. All submission materials for this application are available at the West Gray Municipal Office during regular business hours. If a person or a public body would otherwise have an ability to appeal the decision of the municipality of West Gray to the Ontario Land Tribunal, but the person or public body does not make oral submissions at the public meeting or make written submissions to the municipality of West Gray before the zoning bylaw amendment is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the municipality of West Gray before the zoning bylaw amendment is passed, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to do so. Thank you. And Jamie, you have some comments, please.
Thank you, Mayor Eccles, and through you, notice of this public meeting was circulated to the prescribed bodies, posted on the subject property, and mailed to all properties within 120 meters of the subject property on April 30th, 2024. Anyone wishing to provide verbal comments at this public meeting is asked to sign the sign-in sheet located on the speaker's table. The personal information collected at this public meeting is collected under the authority of the Planning Act and the Municipal Act. The information collected will be used to complete the zoning bylaw amendment process and will form part of the public record. Questions about this collection should be addressed to me, the Director of Legislative Services / Clerk. If you wish to be notified of the decision of the Corporation of the Municipality of West Gray on the proposed zoning bylaw amendment, you must make a written request to the Municipality of West Gray, care of the Director of Legislative Services / Clerk.
Thank you, Jamie. And Planner Smith. David?
Mr. Mayor, Ashley, you bring up the Thank you. As you mentioned, Mr. Mayor, ZA 09-2024 Iverson, Agent Ron Davidson, location 357 David Winkler Parkway, Gray Road 10, Newstead. The purpose of the application is to change the zoning on the property from R1B low-density residential to R3 high-density residential. The effect of the application is to permit a two-story apartment building with 6 units. Parking will be provided at the rear of the building. All requirements of the R3 zone as set out by the zoning bylaw at the moment would be met. Stormwater would be managed on the site with potential to outlet to the stormwater system on Gray Road 10. We're still working through some of the details on that particular part of the application, considering that the stormwater system is owned by the County of Gray, and they determine whether or not you add any water to it, nobody else. It's also, again, subject to Gray County Transportation in terms of its frontage onto Gray Road, and that's the same with our other applications that we have onto the Gray Road system. It's also within the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority regulated area for approval. Next. Current location of the property, you can see just to the north is a set of other townhouses that have been built over the last couple of years in that regard. This development, at least at the moment, would look similar to that, although it does take an apartment form as in a two-story building plus roof. The frontage on the David Winkler, sidewalks on the west side of Winkler as opposed to that side. There's no intention of taking sidewalks down that side of the roadway with access on the other side of the roadway. It's busy roadways, we all know, David Winkler, but there's no issues with traffic or access onto the property in terms of a proposed single driveway. Next. Current zoning, as I mentioned, is a residential zone. Surrounding uses are all residential. The property does rise to the east of the back, so there is going to be grading required, probably a retention wall onto the property itself in order to stabilize the rear yard. Next. Very detailed but then busy picture of the property where you can see the apartment building on the front end of it. It's going to be somewhat of a slab because of the water, not the water table, but the flood fringe area from New Creek that comes up here. So basically we go up a set of steps before we get to the first set of apartments on the first floor and then the second floor. Parking along all at the rear. The driveway access is along the north side of the property. At the rear, we will have the retaining wall and a small change in location of the garbage containers in order to meet the bylaw. The very front end of the building is a small stormwater pond. It's really about 60 centimeters in deep. At the moment, still being worked on in order to be able to deal with some County of Gray comments from Transportation Department in order to come up with a true final design, but overall, we are expecting that it would meet the specifications for that. Setbacks, the property to the south along the side yard meets all the requirements of the R3 for a small apartment building. And with the driveway on the north side, there aren't any issues with the setbacks there. As I said, basically all of the R3 zone requirements would be met for this particular property. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Anything from the applicant? I would appreciate if you would, Mr. Davidson. And you could state your name, that would be well.
Yes, my name is Ron Davidson. I'm a planning consultant, and I'm representing the owners of the property, Christina and Devin Iverson. Devin is here today. Accompanying him is his father-in-law, David Noble. Some of you probably know David, or at the very least, you know of his work. He's a builder. And I bring that to your attention because he built the two sets of semis that are located to the immediate north. And if you know what I'm talking about, then you know he's proposing a nice product. I know that's kind of an interesting way to start, but when I saw those buildings on site with Dave last year in November and December, I didn't realize that build semis that nice or set homes that nice. Not everybody does that, and it doesn't matter if it's a semi, a townhouse, or in this case, an apartment building. It doesn't matter what the use is. It's really how you build it, and they can all look nice. And I can sit here and talk about that all day about how apartment buildings and townhouses and semis and single family dwellings can coexist in the same neighborhood, but that's not why we're here. So just very quickly here, I did a planning report. There was a site plan engineered site plan that was prepared as well that David made mention to. Still working on the details with regard to the county, specifically in regard to whether or not water will end up in the county ditch on the road allowance. The property, of course, is serviced with water and sewer because it's a new stat. David explained that the building will conform with all provisions of the R3 zone, including, I wish to underscore this, the building height requirement. Actually, the R3 zone allows for a building height of 12 meters, and this building is only going to be just over 7 meters in height. So when you're looking at it, it's not going to be imposing on any of the adjacent land uses if that's a concern. Sometimes if you have a 4-story or a 6-story apartment building, it can be kind of imposing in terms of its mass or its size or width or girth or whatever. This definitely won't be the case. It's compatible for sure. You've got again a couple sets of semis next door. And it's again, given the limited size of the building, it will fit in with the rest of the neighborhood as well. The official plan designates the land as residential. You've heard probably many times from your planners that we have to encourage a variety of housing types and not just single family dwellings anymore. Official plan also encourages rental housing, and that's what this will be. You can never have enough rental housing, and you can never have enough nice rental housing, and that's what's being proposed here. Provincial policy statements from the province is also very supportive of a project like this. And that's it for my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ron. Any other comments from the public? No. Were you putting your list on to buy one of these? You were very much interested, Mr. Davidson.
It's a very nice looking product.
Yes, it is.
I won't go on about that again. It's just some people misconstrue an apartment building or a townhouse for something that's not nice and doesn't fit into a neighborhood, and that has nothing to do with it. It's what the builder decides to put on the facade. That's the end of my speech. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. There's no other comments. Then, and I haven't asked this before, but you haven't jumped all over me, Ashley. Obviously, there was nobody online. No? Then I'll declare this public meeting closed. Thank you very much. Thank you for the interest today in the presentation. Good sirs. And with that, close public meeting, and that should be it, Jamie. With all business done, I'll declare the meeting adjourned.